Hey everyone, my name is Daniel, and in this video, I'll show you how to evaluate your agents using test sets. I'll take an example of an autonomous agent which is triggered by a Microsoft form, show you how I built this evaluation test set, and how I tweaked it to run successfully. So stick around, because if you've got those high-touch, high-visibility agents, then building these test sets in the evals is slowly becoming the must-do functionality. But first, here's my intro video. So let's get started. Now, before I jump into building the test sets for evaluating of this agent, let me just give you a quick overview of what this agent is all about. And if you want a step-by-step process on building this autonomous agent, I actually did a deep dive video on that topic. The video was released back in December of 2024. The link of that video is down in the description below. All right, so like I already said, this is an autonomous agent, and it is triggered using a Microsoft form right over here. So see, this is the Microsoft form where people come in and ask some questions. The agent will autonomously respond to that questions. So in this case, some examples I'm going to go through is people are asking about, hey, I'm looking for a coffee machine of a specific color and falling within a price range. This agent will go ahead and produce that. And that's basically all that it does. In fact, the agent itself is very simple. The main power over here is based on these instructions, which again, I've walked you through that video. And the only add-on I did in the topic section is basically get the agent version. If you're interested in how I did that as well, I've got a whole separate video. The link of that is also down in the description below. All right, so now you have an overview of what this agent is all about. Let's start building this test sets and tweak it so that we get a good number of scores over here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is directly run some test prompts or the questions right over here in the agent, because that is what I'm going to use for my test set. So the first question that I'm going to ask over here is, I am looking for a red color drip coffee maker for less than $300. I'll go ahead and hit enter. It is going to start generating the plan, searching through the knowledge sources, analyzing the data. Now, keeping in mind, I already have a tool over here, which is the Outlook send email. So I will also receive an email, all right? And I just saw that it come through over here. We'll take a look at that in a minute. But this is the key thing. Like, I need this type of response to start building those test sets. And I highly urge you to do something like that as well. Run a few of these type of prompts, get the response, because the test set we're going to build will depend on it. So what I would do right now is literally go to my notepad, like open up over here, go and notepad, and start keeping some of these answers over here. I'm going to go ahead and delete this one. I'll come back and I'm going to grab this section over here. Now we're going to go tweak it a little bit, but I'll show you that in just a few minutes. But I'm at least go ahead and grab this response over here. Now let's take a look at the email also I got over here. Right in, this is the email. This is the information that I got, but same thing as the response that I have in the prompt. So I'll go and delete this so I don't get any confused. All right, so that is the first prompt that I put in. Let me go ahead and add the second one as well, all right? So I'll just go ahead and start a new test session. I'll go ahead and put in this prompt, which is, I am looking for a commercial espresso machine, which is less than $10,000 and is black in color. You know, because it is a commercial one, that's why the price is a little higher. So I'll go ahead and hit enter over here. Same thing, generating bands, searching through the knowledge, analyzing the data. Will go ahead and give me the answer that I look at, and it'll also send me the email. So there you go. Here is the answer. The email also came through, which is right over here. And now I can go ahead and grab some answers from here or from the other place as well. Just as an example, I'll go ahead and grab it from here. That way you actually know what is going on. So I'll do a Control-C. I'll come back over here. This is the place that I'm going to start saving the information. So let me just go ahead and put some separation. That way I know which one is which. Paste that. Great. Now I have this information over here as well. So let's now just delete this one and run the last one as well. And the reason I'm showing you this emails over here is literally because I was caught off guard when I did these evals, because this agent, my agent, actually sends emails as well. So keep that in mind, all right? Because depending on what your agent scenarios is, you might have that similar experience. But I'll go over that in just a few minutes. All right, so let's do this last one. It's now, how many silver color espresso machines do you have for 1,000 or less? Same process over here in the analytics. You can see it go through. Perfect. Gave me the answer that I'm looking for. So I'll just go ahead and grab it from here. Email also came through for that. Let me go to the notepad over here, hit enter, do some separation, come in, do a control V. Perfect. Got that saved. And for this one as well, I got a response back. All right. Okay. So keep that in mind. This agent sends out those emails. Okay. So now we've got the data that I needed. We are now ready to come over here to our evaluation and start building the test sets. All right. So now let's go and create a test set. And these are the options that you have. Now, interestingly, you've got these ways to start, or you can also go ahead and upload your CSV files, because you might have a scenario where you already had these power users, or you yourself created this Excel spreadsheet with some of the tests that you manually did. Hey, that work doesn't go in vain. You literally export that Excel spreadsheet as a CSV file, come over here, upload it, and bam, you've already got a good head start. So keep that in mind. For my scenario, I'm going to start fresh, so I'm actually going to go with these options over here. Now, one of the neat things is this one over here. It says, use your test chat conversation. And it tends to remember the last test one that you just did. So if I go and click on this one, this literally was the last one that we just did. Like if I come over here and see, this was the last one. The bot said silver color espresso machine for 1,000 or less. See, that's the same one that was over here. So this is a good place to start. However, I'm going to tweak a few things. Now, before I do that, let me show you what it is. And when I say things, it's the test method. So when I click over here, these are the available test methods that you have. Now, when you're starting to play with this and getting yourselves familiar with it, I highly urge you to at least go through and play with all of these methods that are available. Because in my scenario, I'm going to pick a very specific one. However, in your scenario, based on what your agent and its response is, you might have to pick a completely different one. So I highly urge you to come over here and try out, play with these and figure out which test set is the best for your scenario. So when I first came over here and I was starting fresh, because I wanted to do evaluation on, hey, did the agent pick the correct machine based on the question that the user asked? I was actually going down two of these paths. One of them was exact match or text similarity. Like those were the two ones that I was focusing on. So I started off first with the text similarity method. So when I go and clicked on it, let me just show it to you. The first thing that it gave me was the passing score. Now over here, you've got to decide what your standards are. I'm going to keep mine at about 70%. That's good enough for me. But if your standards are higher, you can keep scrolling that to the right as far off as you want it. So you can go all the way up to 100, or you can go down to the 90 or the 80. Now, if you try to click in between, you won't get like an 85 or a 75. It tends to go in increments of the value 10. So again, in my case, I'll just stick with it as 70. I'll click on OK. And then you get to do all of this other stuff. You see that text similarity one? That's the one over here. You basically also go ahead and delete the previous one. Yes, I'll go ahead and remove it. And now when you click on this question, you see the test method that it selects is test similarity. And it'll tell you already that, hey, you selected the passing score of 70. Now you can go ahead and put in what is your expected response. And based on that, the evaluation will happen. This is the one that I'm going to use. However, there was the exact match one as well, which I tested it, didn't really work out well for me. But like I said, again, find which one of those methods is perfect for you. All right, so I'm going to stick to this one over here, which is how many silver espresso machines do you have for 1,000 or less? Now, keep in mind that the question, there is a limit of only 1,000 characters. So the question is usually the prompt. So I found it a lot easier to stay within this limit over here. Now, the other problem is also the expected response. That limit is also 8,000. And I really wish that there was one more zero over here. Like I wish it was a 10,000, because I'll tell you that 1,000 is really difficult to work with. So what you got to do is make sure that your text is cleaned up really well. You avoid all the fluff, like the initial introduction piece, the conclusion piece. Just get that key content that you want. And I'll show you that by example. So this question or prompt is, how many silver color espresso machines do you have for 1,000 or less? Let's go and grab the answer that we got. So right over here, this was the response. What I'm going to do is just grab the answers that I'm looking for right over here. Like this is what I'm looking for, all right? So I'm just going to select that, do a Control C, come over here and do a Control V. This is the key text that I'm looking for in my expected response, and I'm good if it's 70% that close, right? So I'll click on apply, and now we are done with the first question. I'm also going to go and add 2 more, and the reason I do that is because of how the scoring works. It threw me off a little bit, but I'll show you that in a minute, all right? So I'm going to come over here and add a question, and I'm just going to say write. And right now it shows blank over here, but because we're going to go and grab the question. The question was, I am looking for a red colored drip coffee maker for less than $300. And the response that I got for that was actually the first one right over here. So I'm just going to highlight that. Let me just take up some space, clean this up a little bit, and I'll just go and grab this text right over here. And do a Control C, come back in, do a Control V. I am happily inside that 1,000 limit. So I'll just take some empty space out, click on apply, and there you go. We've got the second one too. Now I'm going to pause over here. I will not add the third one because I want to show you why that third one was added. So let me first save it, and I'm going to do an evaluation. Before I start the evaluation, I've got to go and add a user profile, because there is a statement over there. It says, we recommend using an authenticated profile with all the required connections so that you can test all agent capabilities. I mean, the text speaks for itself, right? Therefore, make sure that you actually add a good user profile. And in my case, I'm just going to use my account. So I'll come over here in the drop down. This is the connected account that I'm going to use. The big account that we need over here is for the Outlook 365 connector. Remember that tool. So I'm going to click on the drop down, and I've got a lot of connectors, which is usually a bad idea. So make sure you clean that up. But I'm going to select the one which has the green check. That's the one that I'm going to use. Nice. I see that green check over here. I'll click on save. Now here's a little tip. After you did all of that, the Connect One tool still had this red color over there. And for me, that was like I thought that it had an error over here. So I kept coming back and I kept finding, like, there's nothing wrong over here. So what I have to just do is click on evaluate at this time, and it is good enough. Like, you did not miss anything, all right? We are good. And because the save button is grayed out, that's because we haven't made any changes. So don't let that red color alarm you, all right? That's good to know. All right, so we are running this first evaluation as our test. It's going ahead and running. We only added 2 of those test evals. Let's see what happens. It is running successfully. Now this is where it can take some time depending on how many of those prompts that you put in, stuff like that. So here we just have to wait. Just a quick update. If you wish to support my channel, you have 2 options. Go to my YouTube channel, click on join, and select any one of these membership options. Keep in mind, you can cancel it at any time. For a one-time payment, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Dan Christian and select either 1, 5, or as many coffees as you like. Thank you for your support. Now the neat thing is I actually saw some emails coming through, and I'm going to talk about that because it caught me a little off guard. And hey, we actually got 100% over here, which is pretty neat. And it also says your evaluation results are ready. Now I do want to share some gotchas I ran into over here. So let me talk about that first, all right? Because it worked really well over here, almost like a perfect scenario. But I did run into some gotchas when I was building this test. So let me talk about that. When we came back over here in the initial evaluation that I was doing, so let me go back over here. I had noticed that for some reason my user profile did not get saved, because remember when we added it, the save button was grayed out. So even though I added the user profile, it did not get saved. So my tip to you is when you're adding this user profile, do something like random. You come back over here, you just go ahead and like change that text a little bit, something like that. You want that save button to show up, all right? After you click on the save button, go out somewhere. Like I'm going to just say, I'm going to say leave, like go out, come back in and make sure that your user profile is saved successfully, all right? That was one thing. Second thing was when I built an autonomous agent, my agent never actually gave me a response in the conversation. Like as I'm having a conversation agent, I never really got a response over there. All I was getting was emails that were sent to me. And that was the other place that was giving me an error. So in this scenario, I also had to go back literally to the overview in my instructions. I added this step over here. It says respond in the conversation, and I gave it some information as what to respond. After I actually started getting responses over here, that's when the test set ran successfully. So these are two key things that I want you to be aware of, because that caused problems for me. I'm just saving you all that time and effort. All right, let's double click on this eval over here, right? This test scenario. So I'm going to click on it, and our passing score is 70. Now, for each of those prompts, we've got the individual passing score. This one is 83, the other one is 70. However, the total score is 100%. And here's why. The first question is 83, but our limit was 70. So this is considered as 100% passing. For the second one, same scenario. We got a 78, but our pass score is 70. Therefore, the passing score over here is also, you got it, 100%. Now, one is 100%, the second one is 100%, therefore the total passing score is 100%. And this is how that numbering works. Keep that in mind, because if any of these were below that 70, they would have considered fail, which means the passing score over here would be 0. So that would be 100 plus 0 divided by 2. This passing score would have become a 50%, and therefore we would have failed it because the overall passing score is 70. I know, I just threw out a lot of numbers at you, but it's very important that you understand that these numbers are a little different, but there is some meaning behind that. So I want you to understand that, all right? That's why I just showed two right now, just so that you can actually take all this information and comprehend it. But let me finish it, all right? I would like to finish it. So I'm going to come back again to this test set, and I'm going to add that third and final one. So yeah, I'm going to add the question. I'm going to write that. The question is here. I am looking for a commercial espresso machine, which is less than 10,000, and it's black in color. So I had already got a response on that one, which was right over here, because I have to maintain that limit of 1,000 characters. Highlighted it, did a Control C, come back over here to the expected response, do a Control V. Nice, we are staying in that limit, and I'm going to click on apply. Again, don't let that red text concern you. It's just there as is. I'll go and click on save, and let's do another evaluation. All right, I'll do another evaluation. Let me just quickly go ahead and delete these two because they're going to come in again. Minimize that. The evaluation is running. And now let's see what the score is over here. Cool. I am seeing some emails coming through over here. The first one came through, but there's 3, so I'm expecting at least 2 more. Nice. There's a second one over here as well. Let's wait for that third one. All right. The third one was for that 10,000. And there you go. The third one came through as well. Perfect. So I'm going to minimize over here because any second this should at least be finished, and we'll see what the final score is. Almost there. And there you go. This thing also was 100%. But let's go take a look at this actual test scores for each of the question. Nice. All right, so the new 10,000 one that we added, oh man, it was right at the border. Passing score was 71. So this is a good tip. You can actually come in and tweak some of the responses so you can actually go ahead and make this evaluation a little bit more clean and crisp. So something to keep that in mind. But the other ones was great. Passed at 83%, it passed at 80%. We are good for these two. This one is a little suspect, so you can always come back and fix that response over here a little bit, all right? But overall, the agent is behaving really well. We just did a full evaluation of this agent, and the score is at 100%. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. It's like, Daniel, why did you stop over here? You could now take that text flow, schedule it in an agent flow, and run this on a periodic basis. And you are absolutely right. In fact, in the agent flow, scheduling this and triggering it is the easy part. It's actually getting the information and seeing the scores. That takes a little bit of tweaking. And therefore, I decided to do that as a completely separate video. However, getting all of this information, finding the correct type of evaluation, building that test set, and triggering it correctly to get the scores, that's the key thing. So I'm hoping this video gets you started in that direction. So hopefully this video was useful to you. And as always, keep using Copilot Studio with evaluation sets. Hey everyone, My name is Daniel, and I'm a community contributor focusing on all things AI related. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a like and leave a comment behind. I love reading the feedback you leave behind as it really helps me shape my future content. And if you want more content like this, subscribe and turn on notifications. So once again, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.